The Dads That Game radio podcast is brought to you by Video Games Monthly. Video Games Monthly is a monthly subscription service that delivers retro video games to gamers who own classic gaming systems from the 1980s through 2000s. And the best part is, you keep the games. Check us out at videogamesmonthly.com.
Live from his wife's basement, still gaming into their elder years. This is the Dads That Game radio podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Michael Wolf and William Small.
Welcome to the Dads That Game radio podcast. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Hey, guess what, buddy?
What?
Talking to you there. Your cues are horrible. You know what? We've done 100.
I said
this
what,
is the
I said what's
this
that?
is the
I don't
100th
know.
show, and your cues are still horrible. Horrible. Is there a delay?
Maybe there's a delay.
Is there
I don't
a delay?
know. Maybe I just.
Were you
I
not
don't
paying
think so.
attention again? I don't think so, because he just answered back. There's no delay. Tired of your shenanigans.
Oh.
Craziness.
Oh, is that? Are you saying Odelay, like that album by? I think it was that album by Beck.
When did I say Odelay? Okay.
Mhm.
Delay. Hilarious.
Mhm.
That was a
Yeah.
good album, by the way.
Mhm.
Welcome to The Left Turn with
Yeah,
your
it was.
host, Mike and Will. Yeah, this is show 100. 100 shows. We did it. There, I
Yeah.
can finally say it.
We did it.
Have a double zero
Yeah.
behind our name. Seriously. And the good
Yeah.
news is we're canceled. Woo! All right.
Yeah, we're done.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yep.
It's great. Well, we've had a roller coaster week because actually I've been talking to Will about actually killing the show and rebranding it. But we decided that was probably a horrible idea since we already did all this hard work under the Dads That Game. But the one thing that is going to change though is our website. We've decided that we are teaming up with Noobs and Pros. We're going to be one brand right now. We are still going to be the Dads That Game, though. So we're keeping our name, but our website will be changing this week, actually. So check out our website, thedadsthegame.com. This is the last week it's going to be up because if you want to have our pictures or events or anything like that going forward from now on, it will be under noobsandpros.com. That's NOOBS and AND pros, PROS.com. So if you want to check out events, pictures, our podcast, or any more on the website, I promise you this partnership with them is going to have a lot more benefit for everybody. We're going to do a lot more contests. It's going to be a lot more interactive. This year for the Dads That Game, this is kind of our anniversary. This is our second year anniversary at Show 100. This is the second year we've been doing the podcast. Wow, it's interesting to say that you've been doing a podcast for 2 years, but it's kind of fulfilling. Yeah, it's kind of fulfilling because most podcasts don't last more than 10, 15 shows sometimes. So it's
we did a good job. I think.
No, I think we did.
I think we did
great.
But,
No, because we were at I was at Mixology on Friday night, which was a ton of fun. Ton of drunk people playing video games is actually hilarious. I actually watched a whole Mario Kart race where Yoshi drove the whole course backwards, and I told him to go home.
All right.
Yeah, I told him to go home because he was drunk. So I was like, yeah, you've had too many, Yoshi. You go home, buddy. But no, it was a lot of fun. But I did not realize that the positive response we got, because a lot of people, for one, they didn't know we had a gaming group in Des Moines. People were really kind of happy about that, which is good for Noobs and Pros and for our standpoint, because that helps us grow the brand and it helps us, build the community bigger. But just, it was really cool because, I talked to, there was a gentleman out there from Nerd Noise Radio. Can't remember his name right now. I'm sorry. He's listening to the show, and I know he hates me right now. I'm sorry. He added me on Facebook. I'm sure I could look it up, but I'm not going to right now. But he's actually a fan of the show too. He's been listening to our show since I think about episode like 94, 95, and he loves it. So yeah, he
cool.
pulled me out there, and he wanted to talk more, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, we can get together and talk sometime, and I'd love to talk to you about the gaming scene. And he was talking about that. He was like, I did not know that Des Moines actually had a gaming scene. And I'm like, yeah, we're just we're trying to build it, and it's an untapped market, and we're really trying to network together a bunch of people. That's why we kind of networked with Noobs and Pros, and we have New Capital Gaming now and Microsoft, just trying to build this really cool gaming community. So it was a lot of fun though, being at Mixology, just being a part of Noobs and Pros and being a part of telling people like this is the Nintendo Switch. Like I think that was the shocking thing about the night, is a lot of people still don't know what the Nintendo Switch was. Like they were trying to pick up the like we had the 1-2 Switch. Like we had systems all over the place. Like we had a big setup on the wall. Yeah. We had big screen projectors with Mario Kart 8 on it. Deluxe on my Switch, and then we had, we brought out the Wii U, and we had Smash Brothers on another big screen. I mean, the room was massive, just a huge room, and we filled it. Like, we were the most popular thing there. Like, everybody was over at our stuff. So, I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that because I think we were. We were really busy though. Like, it was me, Brian, and Mary from Noobs and Pros, obviously, but we held it all down. But the thing was we had Brian brought in his projector, and we put 1-2 Switch on it. And we were just leaving the Joy-Cons, on the Switch to allow it to charge so it didn't die, so people could still play it. But, like, when people would come over, like, they would grab the whole Switch. Like, they had no idea, like, the Joy-Cons,
take the sides off.
Yeah, take the sides off. Like, they had no idea what a Switch was. And I thought it was a lot of fun because I got to have a lot of good conversations about, this is the Nintendo Switch and how, what my opinions were on it. There was a girl that stopped me, and she was like, she's like, well, should I invest in the Switch? Because, I love my Nintendo. I'm still playing Twilight Princess. And I'm like, oh, it's an amazing game. But I was like, if you have not played the new Zelda on the Switch, I was like, dear God, I was like, you are missing out.
Yeah. You're missing an amazing piece of art. Yeah.
So, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a good time held by all. Obviously, I think mixing cocktails and video games with anything is probably a brilliant idea. I wish we could do that with everything, but we have a younger audience too. So, but it was just a lot of fun, and it was really cool to kind of be a part of that community and build the brand and just have a lot of fun with Brian and Mary. But the main reason, obviously, I bring them up is because check out the website, www.noobsandpros.com. I will be actually was allowed to be a web admin of the web page. So keep on checking out that page, because I promise you this week I will be updating a section devoted to the Dads at Game. I'm going to put up there pictures and videos, so it's going to be a lot more interactive like our web page was. So I'm going to kind of 180 that page a little bit. Right now it's a little plain Jane. It's a good placeholder, but I'm going to build it into something really cool. So very happy they give me permission to do that, because otherwise I just it's just kind of a jerk thing to do, to go in and change people's websites. But no. Yeah. Surprise. Yeah. But no, thank you to them, obviously. Thank you to Microsoft, because Mixology was awesome. Thank you to the Science Center. It was super, super awesome being out there and doing that. They only do the gaming part like once a year. So it's like, it's a huge deal that we got to be a part of it. And I think they really like us. So I'm hoping to be a part of that many, many years to come. So hopefully we'll keep on getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Hopefully. We'll see. We need donors. Yeah. Just saying. Open your hearts and your pocketbooks and please donate to us, because we need more systems keep building the brand bigger. So think about...
I thought you said donuts.
Yeah, see? Thank you. There you go again. Odele. That'll be our new word we'll just randomly throw out.
We need donuts to make the brand bigger. Just please give us all your donuts.
Donors. Horrible. Although there's some really good donut places around here. When you come down to town sometime, I'll take you around. It'll be good. But also thank you
all the good donuts.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you to Podcast Radio Network. Check us out Thursday night, 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. Utilize their apps, the Crikey app, the TuneIn app. Both work just fine. Crikey, go to 102.6. Tune in, type it into Podcast Radio Network. You'll be able to find our shows there at 7 o'clock. I think we'll be back up on there soon. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything. Just keep keep tuning in Thursday nights. You'll be on there. If you can't get there, just go to our Podbean page. It's podbean.com. The Dad's the Game. You'll be able to download all our episodes if you need to. I would hope you want to. I don't even know if you need to, but if you want to. But it's just dadsthatgame.podbean.com. If you want to go directly to our page, you'll see all our episodes there and all the downloads we have. Dear Lord, we have a lot of downloads. 23,000. That's pretty neat. Almost 24,000. We're really close. Wow. Okay, keep going. But we also want to thank Player One Coffee. Go to their website, www.playeronecoffee.com. Type in key code DADSThatGame at checkout for 5% off your first-time order. So save yourself some money with that. And Player One Coffee is actually, they're developing new brands all the time, so check them out. They are a coffee for gamers by gamers. You'll love their delicious blends. See, told you I should do infomercials for them. It's great stuff. But also to thank you to Video Games Monthly. Video Games Monthly, I did not know if you know this, but they are a subscription-based video game service where you get to keep the games. All you have to do is just go to videogamesmonthly.com. Type in what kind of plan you want. You can choose from any plan you want. They have low-end plans and high-end plans, depending on how many video games you want. You get to choose what kind of systems you have. They're classic video game systems. They have Nintendo and Sega. We're going to talk about Sega today, too, which is exciting. I'm excited for that story. Super Nintendo, they actually, all the way up until, I think, PlayStation 2, probably, roughly, yeah. But they, they have classic video games. They're an amazing company. They've been a part of our show for, I would say, probably past maybe 10 episodes, probably, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but yeah, they've been really nice to us. They've sent really cool packages to me. Not to Will, but I'll get Will some packages. It's great. But they really a lot of really cool working with them too. Those guys are super awesome. So I just wanted to take a shout out before we start the show. I'm really thankful for my partner Will here. So thank you to Will because honestly, I wanted to like branch out and do like a billion different things, and like everybody that I've asked like has either never shown up or like is barely available. You have been the only person that has stuck by my side for all these shows, and you're consistent too. So thank you to that, dude. Seriously. And it's not. I'm not trying to call you out here. I'm just saying. I'm really thankful that you wanted to do this show with me, and you stuck by my side. Through thick and thin, even when we were at like 5 downloads per show, and now we're at 20,000 listeners on the Podcast Radio Network. It's just. It's been a ride, and obviously I know it's hard because you're in Massachusetts. I'm in Iowa. But we've made it work, and I just want to say thank you. So. Thank you to you, sir.
Thank you for bringing me on your ride. Sure. It's fun. It's fun to do.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. So,
I don't get a lot of people to actually talk to about video games.
Sure.
So it's tough when you have a lot of knowledge on something and you just want people that you can actually share that with.
Right.
So, I'll be here. Till we decide to switch to like a sports topic, permanently or something weird like that.
There's not even like professional sports in Iowa. Like I would say at a professional sports, like you got the market on there because you're in Boston. Well, you're in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so,
we pretty much everybody hates or everybody loves to hate New England teams because we have now become so winning. I don't know. I don't even watch sports, so I don't know. I'm not a sports person, but so I'll stick around. But when we switch to the new format and become an all sports talk show, I probably won't stay then. But,
gotcha.
Well,
I appreciate it.
But till then, we're good.
I would be like the worst sports person to talk about stuff because, like, I enjoy watching sports sometimes. Like, I watch football, I watch hockey. There's like little. Well, I would say those are probably the only 2 sports that I ever watch. But like to tell you like players and stats and things like that, I have no freaking clue. Like I don't. I would just make things up. Yeah, like more power to you if you understand if you understand like the player stats and what draft is this and stuff like that. Because I hear guys at work talk and stuff like that, and I'm like, football. Yeah, what about it? Like I understand how the game works. I understand plays and calls and things like that. But it's like I don't know stats. I don't know players. I'm not invested into their lives. Like, he had 32 touchdowns last year. You know, like I don't understand why people are so invested into sports, but I know like people are crazy about sports sometimes. So,
conversely, those same people generally won't know anything when they hear someone like me or you talking to somebody like, hey, in God of War, in this one part of the game where you're trying to get that rune chest, and the things are over here, and but did you know if you sneak around over here and do this and do this, then you can find this extra stuff over here? Like, they look at us and they're like,
you're an idiot.
You guys are idiots. And then, we're like, well, maybe, but, we know what we're talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to video games, but it's like, I feel the same way like when I hear people talk about sports like that. I'm like, you have no time on your hands. And I'm all over here like, Kratos is blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I guess it just depends on what you're into.
Yeah.
So, I guess it honestly just depends on like what's your hobby, what you're super into. Speaking of God of War, though, do you guys want to know why there's not been a game of the week in the last couple weeks? Because of freaking God of War. I am not finished with it, and it is a freaking nightmare to play sometimes because it is so lengthy. Like, I remember it took me probably a week. It took me like a week and a half to get 100% of Far Cry 5 because everything was so close together. Yeah. Which, Far Cry 5 is an amazing game. I'm not knocking it whatsoever. It's got a multiplayer. It's got everything going for it. God of War is an amazing single-player game, but it is so freaking drawn out with all the things that you can do in that game. Unreal.
Yeah.
So, and actually, I just discovered
trying to do as much as I can. So.
Well, I have 4 Valkyries dead, which was really hard. Valkyries are a nightmare. So obviously there's one more in the mountain that I cannot beat. It's the one that has the metal cage that does the block, and I just can't figure out her pattern right now. I'll get it done though. And then there's still 3 more out in the other portals that I got to find that I haven't even found yet. So, because Did you do the one in the Fire Realm? That one's pretty tough. I have not done that one as of yet. No. So there's a lot of
when you do all of the challenges there, it's the last thing.
Yeah,
and, my God,
I haven't done any of the portals as of yet. I've mostly been around Miramar, but I'm at the part where I just got the where I unlocked the secret, the secret whatever tomb you want to call them, whatever, the portal. And I'm trying to go back through that right now. So it's been it's a fun game.
It just keeps getting better.
It just keeps honestly. It's like it's the most amazing and complex system game too because of all the armor and weapon enhancements that you can put on yourself or gem enhancements. So it's like you can really make Kratos, unstoppable if you pick the right combination of gear and enhancements. But man, it is just a super, super, super complex game of just layer after layer after layer. I love it. Yeah.
It is, and at the point where I thought that I had combat really dialed in with the stuff that I like, suddenly they were like, "Oh, by the way, did you remember something that you used to own?
Yeah, they changed
that maybe you want to own again,
right?"
And then suddenly, well, in case people hadn't got there, that was a big reveal in the game to find that, but then to be able to kind of swap back and forth to that even that is amazing. But I think personally I am a little overpowered at the moment because I went and did as soon as I unlocked the Fire Realm, I went and did the entire world.
Sure.
Like pretty much every one of the challenges there give you so much XP that I've unlocked everything for everybody. I've maxed out the stats on every rune, everything.
Yeah.
So I am just like, I've done 2 Valkyries, and I didn't even drop below half health on either of them.
Well, and I noticed with the Valkyries too, like honestly, like I couldn't figure it out. I would say if you're fighting Valkyries, don't do it until you hit about level 6, and you'll be a lot happier that you waited. But the Valkyries, honestly, it's like Dark Souls with them. It's like honestly, all you have to do is learn the patterns Learn when they have the red circles around them to interrupt their attacks with your kid.
Yep. Don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy. Let them come to you, and then unleash fury on them. But it's just there's a one in the mountains that's really really hard. So she's got like a
I don't think I found.
Yeah, you have to go back. The beauty of that game though is it keeps forcing you to go back to areas that you've already been, because there's like new secrets that get unlocked with your new powers. So. But that is the exact reason.
I know where there's a ton of those doors, but I don't know. I don't remember all the ones that I've found, because you find them all throughout the whole first half of the game. You find them everywhere, and you're just like, oh, I'll have to come back to this one later.
I think there's
and I
only...
thought they'd be on the map, but
no,
there's supposed to be 7 of them or 8 of them.
Well, there's 8 Valkyries altogether, but they're all over the world. But there's secret doors all over the place that sometimes don't have Valkyries on them. They have like secret chests or secret enemies that you have to go.
Yeah.
And then when you light all the braziers, that you get a secret gem for that one. And then if you go back to the first brazier, there's a secret on that one too. I don't know if you knew that, for a secret axe hilt. So if you haven't checked that out as of yet, I got that last night, so you should go check that out online and how to do it. It's basically you go to the first brazier where that Thor statue was. You stand in the middle platform, and then what you do is you look forward, you look left, you look right, you look left, you look forward, you look down, and then you look right again. And then you'll hear a little dong, like a bell. A portal will open up, and you grab through it, and there's a secret axe hilt that you can get for yourself, which is really, really powerful.
Oh, is that that's the that was what people found out from the map, right?
Yep, I did it last night though. Totally works, and it's amazing. And
it totally works.
As soon as you upgrade the axe hilt itself, depending on what your level is, I think it only starts at level 3. But once you upgrade it, unreal, because it's like every single stat is upgraded. So fantastic.
Then I'll definitely go jump into that later.
Go look it up online on how to do it, because it took me a while to figure out what you're looking at and the pattern of how you have to do it. It's a secret in the game, so just totally ruined it for everybody.
So you said it was look up twice.
No,
and
you
then
look
down
twice.
Then left twice.
Right.
Then right twice.
Yeah, exactly. And then
down.
A start select finish. Got it. Good. And then you get and then Contra
30 guys.
And then Contra comes out of a portal, and then you get Contra powers. So it's pretty cool.
All right, cool.
So
you get the spread shot, and you're good.
It's pretty good. And then you're just unstoppable. So you just destroy everything.
Awesome.
But let's get we've wasted enough time, dear Lord. Let's get into the show. Obviously, we'll start off with weekend release. We'll talk about some stories. Main topic that I wanted to talk about today is a very interesting thought piece that I was reading this week, and it's called "Is it time for video game companies to unionize?" So I thought we'd get into that, because the numbers on these stories was pretty
intense.
Pretty intense. Yeah. So we'll get into it today. That'll be our main topic. But obviously, we'll start off with weekend release. Obviously, this will cover you from today all the way until the 13th. Yay, yay, yay. Some betas you can sign up for as well. But starting off on May 8th, you can get yourself 2 MD VR football. Obviously, that's PlayStation VR. AO Tennis on PlayStation 4 as well. I think that is a VR game as well. Don't kill me if it's not. A game that I like to dub the Boob and Wiener game, but Conan Exiles is finally coming over to PlayStation 4. For anybody who played that on PC, you'll understand why I call it the Boob and Wiener game. I like to joke that all I did for the first 10 minutes when I created my character was just run around and watch myself just flop around. So you'll understand when you get there. A lot of pretty funny. Also on the 8th, you'll be able to get yourself Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon's been out before, but it's coming over to PlayStation 4 finally. So it's not a new game, it's just on a new platform. Also, Dead Ahead Zombie Warfare on PlayStation 4. That I don't know. That game's been out before. It says Vita Networks. I don't know. That looks like a new one, but it also does have Vita support. So very interesting. Also, you can get yourself Hyper Sentinel on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Ink Explosion on PlayStation 4 and Vita. Mega Dimensional Neptunia 7. Mega Dimensional Neptunia 7 on PlayStation 4. That is a JRPG, so go check that out.
Yeah. All right.
Raging Justice on PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. I've heard a lot about this indie game, and I'm actually kind of excited because I've seen a lot of gameplay of it. looks really fun. But it's called Death Road to Canada, and it's coming out on the Switch and PlayStation 4 on the 8th. I would say definitely probably need to go check that out because it actually looks really, really good as an indie game. But also Shantae 1.5 Genie Hero. I'm really getting tired of this joke, seriously. It's just a placeholder, or what the hell's going on? I know this game's been out before on the Switch. It says PS4, but I think I'm getting trolled now. Seriously, how many times have I announced that game? Like 9 times? So,
yeah. But
apparently it's going to be out.
Is that the new one, like the sequel? Because there is a second one now.
It still says 1.5 Hero. So I don't know. I don't know. It still says it still says 1.5. It never went to 1. So I can understand if it's Shantae 1 Genie Hero. Get it? Because it's a half? Okay, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Got it. I'm not funny. We understand this. But moving on, obviously, you can also get yourself Tacoma on PlayStation 4. Through the Woods, which I know has been out before, but that's coming over to PlayStation 4. Tyr, Chains of Valhalla on PlayStation 4. Pillars of Eternity 2. Now, here's a game, if you have not played this game is amazing. Very Diablo-esque, but very, very cool RPG game. But Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire's out on PC. Check that one out. I would definitely say check that one out, because if you like RPGs, you'll not be disappointed. Also, you can get yourself Steins Gate Zero on PC. Laser League, that's it for the 8th. Starting the 10th, you can get yourself Laser League on PlayStation 4. I'm pretty sure that's a VR game as well. Pretty sure. So I wish they would just say PlayStation VR, but they don't. They still say PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Reverie on PlayStation 4. One Piece, Pirate Warriors 3 on the Nintendo Switch. If you guys have never seen One Piece, the Japan, I wanted to say Jamanipated.
Yeah.
It's from Japan.
Nothing like a Janipated. Yeah.
Well, they call them JRPGs. Why not call them Jamanipated? It was made in Japan. It's animated stuff made in Japan. Japanimated. I just made up a new word. There you go.
Jamanipated.
It's Jamanipated. Yeah, Also, May 10th, you can get yourself Super Sidekicks 2, the World Championship on the Switch. That is an old school soccer game. That is a Neo Geo game. So go check that out if you like Neo Geo stuff. Also on the 10th, Chariot. If you have not played Chariot before, Chariot has been out on Xbox One. The only thing that I think is very, very cool about that game is actually if you do have a Philips Hue light system, like yours truly here, it actually syncs up to that system perfectly. So it syncs over your Wi-Fi, and then everything you do in the game, actually, it affects the lights. So very, very cool how they did that.
All right.
Yeah, so check that out. Also, you can get yourself, I love this name for this game, Immortal Redneck. Not the redneck part, because usually that means racism things, but Immortal Redneck. And it's a mummy. Wow, they really went all out on that one. It's a mummy basically in redneck clothes. Not kidding. And he's got guns, and I'm interested now. I'm on board. I was on board with the name, but now I see the game. That is amazing. Mortal Redneck coming out on Nintendo Switch. A game called Garage on Nintendo Switch. No idea what that's about. 3 Force.
Yeah, I played that at PAX.
Is it fun, or what is it about?
So it's like a twin stick top down shooter.
Oh, okay.
That's very dark and it's basically fighting zombies.
Gotcha. Fun.
The demo was brutally hard, so I don't know if the game itself has difficulty levels, but it was cool.
Yeah.
But the typical twin stick shooter type thing.
Gotcha. Well, that's fun. Right on. Also a game called 3 Force Home on the Nintendo Switch. Suicide Guy. All right, that's another name grabber on Nintendo Switch. No idea what that's about. And then that was it for the 10th. Last game coming out on the 11th is Grim Legends 3: The Dark City. I don't know anything about the other one, but that one's on PS4, and that's it. I promise you, though, if you hang with us, May is not looking too shabby for some video games coming out. So, yeah. Looks actually really, really good. So, hang with us. We'll get there. We'll get through the month of May, and obviously we'll be into June. It'll be E3 time, and then we'll have all new stuff to talk about. But let's start off. Let's start off the show. Obviously, I wanted to start it off with the company Game Vice. You remember these guys? No? Okay. Well, I'll remember you. I'll remember you. I'll remind you. I'll remember you. I can use the English language well today. I'll remind you. So obviously, if you guys remember when Switch came out, there was this company, Game Vice, who basically sued Nintendo because they stated that their Joy-Cons were too similar to their detachable, things that they made for their phones. Well, apparently, because Nintendo's now sold over 17 million units and they've created several hit games, they might be infringing on some more patents. Woo! Go Nintendo. Yeah. So Game Vice, which makes obviously the attachable controllers for iOS and Android phones and tablets, has filed a complaint claiming the importation of Switch consoles into American shores infringes on its patents. Really interesting. I did not know you could patent that. The U.S. International Trade Commission, which is investigating the claim, specifically says it is looking to certain portable gaming console systems with attachable handheld controllers and components, which heavily implies this is the Switch we are talking about, obviously, not the Wii or the Virtual Boy. The complaint hopes that the ITC issues a limited exclusion and cease and desist orders effectively blocking imports of Switches into the States. The ITC has not made the decision regarding the matter and will make a final determination in its earliest practical time. This is not the first time, obviously, Game Vice has taken issue with Nintendo Switch. Back in August, they sued them, but they actually lost that lawsuit. Here's the thing about this. This is killing me. This feels very, very much like Lindsay Lohan to me. Like Lindsay Lohan. It
really does.
It
like
really,
that same, like,
yeah, like Lindsay's like, you use my likeness.
Stuff.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Seriously, I mean, I understand, obviously.
If you look at their stuff,
I would say
it doesn't have any.
It looks more like Xbox stuff.
Nothing to do with what the Switch is.
Exactly. It looks more like Xbox stuff. It looks like, you slapped an Xbox controller on your PC. I would say if anybody's going to sue anybody, Xbox should be suing them. So, yeah, I said it.
And their controller, they're like things that you could stick on the ends of your phone. Mm-hmm. They don't look like the Joy-Cons.
No, they
Again,
don't.
It looks like someone took little rectangle like copies of a Xbox controller and stuck them onto the ends of a phone.
It's exactly how it looks. It looks like if you take your Xbox One controller and bust it in half, you take the buttons on your right side and you take obviously your thumbstick on your left side, and you split it down the middle, and you can imagine that's each section has little connectors into it like a hole, and you would just plug that into your phone and you turn your phone into basically a controller. That's exactly what that looks like.
Yeah.
Looks nothing like the little Joy-Cons. So
no, it doesn't. So
it really doesn't.
They're grasping at straws, and they've already lost once. They're going to lose again, and I don't understand. They're like wasting money on the off chance that maybe Nintendo will pay them something.
Maybe. I don't know, man. It just seems kind of very honestly, I get infringement. I get people stealing ideas and stuff like that, but it's like you've already lost the Joy-Con battle. And now it's like they're like, oh, well, you can't bring in handheld systems from this. It's like, how can you file a patent on that, for one? Because you're not the original company that brought in this kind of gaming into America, because you're too late, because you would already have I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you patent basically handheld gaming systems, coming into America that have detachable controllers. I don't understand, when your lawyers were being assholes like they normally were, they're like, oh, we'll just write this in a clause, we'll get them,
Right.
I just feel like it's just a bunch of a-holes
sitting on the table. It still has to do with the detachable controllers.
Sure.
It's the detachable controller part that they're still trying to argue with. And, I mean, really, it already lost, so now they're bringing it in again, filing in a different way, saying, no, we're still trying to say that this is our stuff, and they took our ideas.
I just think it's like, I deal with lawyers all the time, and trust me, I understand why people have lawyers and things like that. I get it. But 99% of the lawyers that I usually deal with are scumbags. Seriously. They're always trying to find a loophole. Yeah. They're always trying to get money either out of the company or out of somebody else. Like, honestly, that's all they do. Like, I understand, like, there are good lawyers out there. There are lawyers out there that protect, like, the innocent, that, don't commit crimes. Obviously prosecutors that are appointed that, get paid crap and they still do it because they love the law. Those are the heroes.
Right.
These lawyers that work for corporations or lawyers that work for these millionaires, these are scum-sucking bastards, honestly. And I'll say it because I deal with them all the time. But I love actually where I work right now because I have the law, and I know the law very, very well when it comes to tax law, and I use it against them all the time, and there's nothing they can do because like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just every other day, though, it's like you see something like, you see them weasel, some little aspect or some sort of line of law to their own benefit or to their company's benefit. And honestly, like, Game Vice, like, seriously, if you're really going to associate your company, like, you're going to throw your company out there as the company that's basically like, oh, well, we're just going to keep on suing Nintendo until something sticks, that says a lot about your company, and I really hope you fail. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying out there, I don't know if Nintendo obviously is innocent in this situation. I understand Nintendo obviously has a major, corporation as well. They've done some pretty crappy stuff too. But the only difference between obviously Nintendo and the other companies, though, Nintendo actually owns up to when they make a mistake. For God's sakes, their CEO, the CEO, the president of the company, took his own paycheck and took a pay hit when Wii U failed. He didn't blame his workers.
Yep.
He didn't blame, any other else except for himself. He said, I failed. And he took his own paycheck and he took a pay hit for the failure of the Wii U. That stands to something's character. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But if you're honestly going to go out there and Lindsay Lohan and I don't care, Lindsay Lohan can sue me too for saying her name. Oh, dear God. But the thing is like, if you're going to go out there and be like, well, they use my likeness, and you appeal and you appeal and you appeal until something just hits, that really says a lot about your character. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And it's just kind of sad. Like, honestly.
Give it up, people.
Just give it up. Like, honestly, like, if you had a good idea for a video game system, you would be selling millions of units and you wouldn't even care. But the problem is that nobody really cares about that, attachable controllers you can put on your dang smartphone. I'm sure it's a great idea for some, but I have thumbs. What, are you going to sue my thumbs? Seriously.
Right.
It's just stupid.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
I'm getting worked up.
Mike's thumb.
I'm getting worked up.
Mike's thumbs get sued.
Seriously, I'm getting worked
Dad's
up.
The Game.
Exactly. I would love Mr. Lefty and Mr.
We'll draw a little. We'll draw little faces on your thumbs, and have like a whole thing where they it shows them walking into a courtroom.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a little tie. I'm gonna put a little tie in mine. He'll be dressed nicely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The defendants, Mr. Lefty and Mr. Righty. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up, and we do have happy news, but it's just really stupid. I'm sorry. I just hate. Yeah. I hate stories like that. Like, honestly, I just hate when companies out there just like, oh, we're just gonna sue you. Okay, great. So, good job. You lost.
Yeah.
Well, I promise I'll bring you the story when they lose, because they will. But it's just stupid. So, whatever. Moving on to happier news, though, and I was actually really excited about this news. I don't have the dates of release, obviously, in America as of yet. They haven't been announced as of yet, but it is happening. But obviously, Sega is celebrating the 30th anniversary this year of the 16-bit Sega Genesis, or as it's called in the rest of the world, the Mega Drive, which, if you did not know that, now you know.
Mega Drive.
Yeah. Don't you remember the Mega Drive? Yeah, it was everywhere else in the world. Yeah. Everywhere else in the world, it's Mega Drive, and then it was Sega Genesis here. But they're making a mini version being released in Japan first. Obviously, they're bringing it to the U.S. later this year, but like I said, I don't have a date as of yet. But they caught on with the Nintendo success of releasing their classic consoles, obviously the NES, the Super NES. I hear it's a rumor right now that N64 not too far behind, so that'll be interesting. And actually, I'm gonna reverse what I said about that. I think it'd actually be a really good idea because there's a lot of good games on there. But it's no surprise, obviously, that Sega recently announced the desires to return to the hardware world because they've been out of it since Sega Saturn. Dear God. But the Mega Mini Drive is a part of the new strategy. The Mini Drive is powered by AtGames. Sega previously partnered with AtGames for their ill-received Genesis Flashback HD. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think they marketed that very well. But details about the abundant, well, they haven't abound as of yet, but they will get you, obviously, the information that you need to know on that. But that brings me to a subtopic that I wanted to talk about, though, is when they announced the Sega Classic, they put a lot of games on there. It was like 50 games. But I really didn't have any games that I really enjoyed. So I thought it would be fun if we took, the top 3 games, if they were going to put, the games on the Sega Classic. What top 3 games would you want to see? And also, if you want to be a part of this at home, email us, dadsthegamepodcast.gmail.com. You can find it on our website for the week, and then I'll make sure it's up at noobsandpros.com. But email us what games, top 3 games that you would want to see on this classic system. My top 3, honestly, I would want to see Altered Beast, because I love that game. I'd love to see Comic Zone, because that was just another amazing game. And then Vector Man. I loved all 3 of those games. Yeah. Like, I played the hell out of them. Like, everybody would usually say, like, Sonic and things like that. Those are the 3 games, honestly, like, growing up in my childhood, I played the most. And I finished them, and I loved them.
You know what? So, you know what's really weird is that I owned the Genesis, and I remember owning it, and I remember having games.
Yeah.
But I literally can only... I think I can only remember Sonic and Altered Beast. Golden Axe.
There was so many. I mean, there was Golden Axe. There was Echo the Dolphin.
Oh, that's right.
God,
I thought Echo the Dolphin was other. I thought that was like a PlayStation thing.
No, that was straight up. That was Sega. That originally. When did Echo the Dolphin come out?
Was it?
Yeah. Let me look it up real quick. I'll fact check myself real quick.
No, you're definitely right, because I was younger than I'm thinking I was when I first saw Echo.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to me that I can name like a ton of Super Nintendo games, and I personally I had the original Nintendo system when it came out.
Yeah.
I mine had the robot, and it came with the gun for Duck Hunt.
Sure.
And then after that, my parents would only let me buy one, and my buddy Remy, he bought the Super Nintendo, so I bought the Genesis.
Sure.
And so we would go back and forth on to whose house was going to play, where who's playing what where. But I remember all the games that we had at his house more than I remember the ones that I had from mine, which is, I guess.
Well, I mean, just kind of a list of games that you can choose from. I mean, Altered Beast, Comic Zone, Golden Axe, Kid Chameleon. That was another one. Streets,
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Streets of Rage, Outrun, Jet Set Radio, Battletoads,
Battletoads, yes.
Toe Jam and Earl, Crazy Taxi. We're talking more Sega CD or Sega Saturn days. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, seriously.
It's funny. Like, I just, for some reason, without having a list to look at, it's like I don't remember.
Sure.
Them.
Yeah.
Yet when you say them, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember all those. Those are great.
Well, so, I just remember. I remember what they did with the Sonic universe too. I mean, they had. Obviously they had Sonic 2, but then they started doing really cool things like when Sonic 3 came out, and then Sonic and Knuckles. They had when they built the Sonic and Knuckles system, they built it in a way to where the flap would open up the top, and you could plug in Sonic 3 onto Sonic and Knuckles, and it would unlock more levels. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I would say, honestly, like, that was the first paid DLC you could honestly ever think of. Because, like, that was really cool. Yeah, you'd have Sonic 3. I beat Sonic 3. I beat Sonic and Knuckles, but then you plug in that, the game at the top, and, like, 30 more levels would open up. So it was really kind of ingenious how they did that. Do you remember Sega TV at all? I do.
No.
I had that. So there's a lot of cool things that Sega did back in the day, but it just, honestly, I just felt, it fell apart. So the Sega Channel actually is what it was called. But yeah, Sega was way ahead of their time. Like, honestly, I mean, you're talking about people who did Game Gear, one of the first handhelds, obviously, besides the, Nintendo Game Boy. But I mean, they had the market, man. Seriously, at the time, they were on fire. They were firing all cylinders, and then made some horrible decisions, and just crushed the company to where it is right now, to where they're just a software developer. But Sega back in the day, man, they were king. They were beating.
They were huge. Yeah.
Well, they were huge, and they were beating Nintendo. Nintendo had obviously, I don't think Nintendo started coming back around until about N64. Got it caught them back up.
Yeah.
So, but man, I remember, Sega was king forever. So Sega CD, Sega, I mean, they had everything. Dear Lord. Yep, and then you can go and read through exactly what happened to Sega, but I love Sega. I think it'd be really cool to bring some of those games back, but I know they did the Ant games, big system, but it just was never really well received, and I think honestly it was just because of the games they put on there. Like honestly, if you put the games on there that I think people have more connections to, maybe Earthworm Jim, Toe Jam Earl. Because those are still, to this day, people still love those games. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, love that stuff. Yeah.
Yep. But I did also want to bring up too. Speaking of video games, like we always do. If you guys haven't checked it out as of yet, 2 days ago, State of Decay 2 opened up. You can sign up now for their PC beta test. The only two things though, I already signed up. The only two things though is that you have to have a Microsoft account. And you have to take a survey because they want to know. This is technically, I think that it's like a technical alpha beta test. So you kind of have to know how to get into those. You have to kind of know like you're gonna comply with what they're asking you to, because they're gonna ask you like, is there bugs? Is there things we can change? How can we correct those things? So you kind of have to know what you're doing. I know how to do it because I've done alpha technical tests before. But you have to have a Microsoft account for one. Doesn't matter what platform you want to play it on. So you still have to have a Microsoft account. And the second thing is that you do have to take a survey and upload the specs of your computer to them because they want to know if it's worth their while to give you a beta key. So I signed up yesterday, but I would say if you guys are interested, definitely check that out if you want to get early access into State of Decay 2. If not, just wait until the middle of this month, May 18th, I think. To obviously just buy the game, so you're not really missing out.
Although,
yeah.
Did you see that a bunch of outlets got their hands on it and spent some quality time, and it doesn't sound like it's looking good.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know, because I've heard this is going to be just a game like PUBG or anything like that, where they're basically just, it's being developed, is how they're calling it. Same thing happened. Yeah. Same thing happened to Sea of Thieves too. Like Sea of Thieves obviously came out, everybody's super excited for it. They were bored in a week, but Sea of Thieves team is still working on it. So there's still to be more factions, more quests, and all kinds of stuff.
Based on what I've heard, for State of Decay is that the game feels almost exactly. They didn't fix any of the issues that were out there for the first game. So for this one having the same problems and just feeling like brutally difficult to the point where it's so stressful that it almost takes away from gameplay.
Sure.
That was another thing that I'd heard, as well as just that there was just some design choices even for the second one that seemed weird. That's but right. Like you said, they're probably going to be releasing it, and then people are going to touch it and go, "Wait, this game isn't done."
Yeah.
So
I'm guessing it's probably going to be the same situation to where like that's I love obviously video game creators. Thank you for bringing in your vision to us, but I'm really kind of getting pissed off about the whole we're going to half-ass it and we're just going to develop it on the fly mentality. I don't understand, like...
Yeah, after you've paid full price for it,
I just don't understand, like...
actually continue.
Right, I don't understand, like, when that became the normal. Like, seriously. Because, like, there's a ton of games out there that are being developed, and they're like, well, we'll just early access it. It's not done as of yet, and it's super buggy, but we'll still charge you $60 for it, and you can just be a part of the experience. That's fine. I mean, you have to look... I guess you have to look at it as, like, I'm getting the game super, super early... compared to, like, if they were to develop it and they were to take care of all the bugs and stuff like that, it could be, like, 4 or 5 years later, and you're getting it today. I think that's kind of mindset you have to have about some of these games, is because, like, a lot of these games are developed within, 1 to 2 years, and then they push them out into early alpha development, which basically means that you can be a part of, you're making the video game is what you're doing. These are these games, but I just don't remember when that became the normal. Like, honestly, I would say, like, maybe PUBG, when PUBG became so popular, I guess, because now there's a ton of games out there. I mean, there's like Frostpunk right now. There's the Shadow game. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah. But the new one by Crytek, I like that one. But I mean, it's still super early development. Obviously, like Conan Exiles was one of those games. Arma was one of those games. State of Decay obviously looks like it's going to be one of those games. I mean, there's just a ton of games out there that are still like that. Fortnite, to an extent, is still one of those games. PUBG's still one of those games.
What bums me out is that both Sea of Thieves and State of Decay are both supposed to be big points to having an Xbox.
Well, see, that was the thing too, because I've been reading a lot of articles about Microsoft right now, and I don't have anything negative to say about them, but it's like I read this article where they're saying like Microsoft is planning for the end game, a long haul on the end game, but it doesn't work when you still don't have any video games though. That's the only thing I've like.
Yeah, the problem I see with that is they can set themselves up for the end game. They can set themselves up for knowing what they're doing down the road, but you're going to lose your player base if you have no games.
Well, and that's the thing. Like honestly, here's the cold hard truth or reality that we can drop on you real quick. PlayStation 5 it's not far away. Is all I can say.
No.
I mean, it's tops maybe 2-3 years out. Tops. If we're, if I'm thinking maybe 2 years out, PlayStation 5. Because, I mean, you have to figure PlayStation 4 is right around about 6-7 years old right now. So I'm guessing their lifespan, because, I mean, what was the lifespan between 3 and 4? I mean, it was like 10 years probably, maybe?
10.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it was about 10 years,
Yeah, so I'm guessing maybe, 2, 3, 4 more years, PlayStation 5 is going to drop. And then what is Xbox going to do? Are they going to basically be like, oh, okay, here's our next Xbox? But the problem is that I've always had with Xbox is that you don't have game companies. I understand, obviously... It's always such a catch-22 situation because you're danged if you do and you're danged if you don't. The reason I say that is because PlayStation and Nintendo have the beauty of obviously being made in Japan. That is where the mecca of games are made. I understand that. Xbox is on the... I'll give credit to Xbox because they've been on the outside, obviously made in America. They've had, obviously, all these third-party developer games, that have made the system great. But it's like their first-party games, there's not as many studios for them because everybody's over in Japan, and it's easier to make games for PlayStation, and it's easier to make games for Switch. I get that, but I don't know how to correct that, is all I'm saying. And I know with Xbox, like, you have a powerful system, you have all these great features, you have this great controller, you have a lot of good things going for you. The only thing we've always complained about, though, is where's your decision-making going with what are you doing to make first-party titles? Because you're not doing it. So it's like you could be making a new Halo. You could be making, a new something. But it's like every first-party game that they've made so far has been crap. I mean, Sea of Thieves was crap.
It has not been good.
Sea of Thieves was shallow. It was super shallow, and it was crap after about a week of playing. And it's really disappointing to hear, obviously, what's going on with State of Decay right now. It's like, what are you doing? It's like you understand... I kind of always have this argument with Xbox because it's like they always miss the mark somehow. It's like when you made Xbox, the Xbox One, you were like, oh, well, people want a more multimedia machine. No, they didn't. And then you're like, oh, okay, you're right, they didn't. So we made a 4K video game machine with a little bit more power. Now people just want 4K, and it's like I feel like they understand like what we want. It's just like I think they're just at a point right now to where they're so deep in a hole they just don't know how to get out anymore. Like they've dug themselves so deep with putting all this new technology out. And it's like we've had 3 brand new systems in the last 2 years, and it's like I don't know. Well, 2 new systems. I'm sorry, not 3, but I mean Xbox One S and then obviously Xbox One X within the last 2 years, and I feel like it's like. Why, for one, but it's like I don't understand how you're saying like, oh, we're just getting ready for the end game. That's fine, but honestly, like at this year's E3, if you don't come out,
if you don't pull something,
if you don't come out guns blazing, I just don't know how far you guys are going to go with your. Obviously, I know you have PC, you have obviously the operating system that everybody uses in America. I get that. I know you're not going away. But honestly, as a gaming company for Xbox itself, and I'm talking about Xbox because you can still develop games for PC. That's fine. And they've really kind of pushed that. But it's like, I really don't know how far more you're going to be able to push the Xbox anymore. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, sharing third-party titles, people, if I know that I have money to spend on a console, and I know that the third-party titles are on both systems.
Yeah.
And you know what? They might look better aspects on the Xbox One X.
Yeah.
But when then you go, okay, well, what do they have? What's their selling point for each one? Which one has better games that are just for that system?
Yeah.
PlayStation 4 keeps getting these wins of games that are so good.
Oh yeah.
Not just good, not just like mediocre.
Yeah.
That are so good.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
genre defining.
Oh, yeah.
Genre defining games are being put out on the PlayStation over and over again.
Right.
So, it's just, I can't say that I even remember or know what the last defining game was that came out specifically on the Xbox. Because it's been that long.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know
it's
how
been
far
that long.
I don't know how long you can keep the charade up. I really don't, because it's just.
I mean, and granted, the Xbox 360 I thought was a better system than the PlayStation 3.
It was, yeah, it
it
absolutely was. But that was back in the day when they were actually making games for it. So they had the better online player. They had games for it. It's like somewhere along the line,
everything going for them then, and like you said, somewhere between Xbox 360 and the Xbox One, something happened. Well, they lost their way.
Well, and I know what it was is because they went down the path of, well, we just want to make a multimedia machine.
We know.
Yeah, we know what's best for you. Gamers don't want a game. And it's it's like every time you think you don't know. So, but we gotta.
We gotta.
We're gonna go. I'm gonna go to the main topic. There's a couple more stories. Obviously, Overwatch got a new map this week. System Shock remake in the works that may not be out until 2020. Kind of excited to hear about that. We'll talk about that maybe some other time when we get some more info on that. But main topic I want to talk about obviously today is it time for a union for the video game companies? Because once you hear these numbers, you might want to think about it. But I'm going to read an article. Obviously, I don't remember who wrote the article, but this is not me speaking. But I just wanted to read it, and we'll talk about it here, and then we'll get out of here. But we all know Activision Blizzard makes a stupid amount of money each year, which is true. But it's coming into light of just how much the top are netting themselves. CEO Bobby Kotick was paid $28,698,375 in 2017 alone, if you can believe that. It was a decrease in 2016 when he banked a whopping $33 million. But still, it's still ridiculous. These numbers are pulled from Kotick's filings with the U.S. Security and Exchanges Commission, so they are nothing if not accurate. These numbers alone might seem staggering already, but the real problem is that Kotick made 306 times what the average employee at Activision makes. Over 300 times. Wow. Yeah. The average Activision employee still makes around $93,660, which is certainly nothing to sneeze at, but it's insane how much the people at the positions of the company are very wildly. But they are... Well, they're not being paid fairly is basically what it's saying. It's difficult to believe a statement like that when the CEO said the company makes leaps and bounds more money than their underlings. The whole situation just reeks of rich getting richer, which is freaking true. If Activision existed back in the Middle Ages, the CEOs would be the nobles and royalty, while the worker bees below would be the peasants. That is still the same system we work in today. You don't need to tell me this is basically a grossly unfair setup. I'm not going to keep reading here. This is kind of stupid how they worded this, a lot of stuff. But to me, it's just that's crazy to me. 300 times more than the average point. Here's the thing, too. And it honestly depends on where you're living at, too. $93,660 may seem like a high wage to a lot of people. If you're talking about California, though, that is nothing. When the average household rent, like if you live in an apartment, like a one-bedroom apartment, is usually $2,500, $3,000 a month. So, because East and West Coast living is ridiculous. If you live in the Midwest, that is a king salary right there. But anything on the East or West Coast, where all the gaming industries usually are, that's peanuts, man. So that's crazy. $28 million in 1 year alone.
$28 million. That's insane.
And you're paying your employees $93,000.
That kind of money, it's like you don't even know what you're doing with your money when you have that much money.
Pretty much.
It's just, I don't understand it, and I never will, because, you know, I've worked for the same company for 10 years now, and, you know, I pushed and worked as hard as I can, and I've moved up the ranks.
Yeah.
It took me a long time, and, you know, what I make is, you know, considered a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
However, where I live tells me that no, it's not. So it's, again, like, if I lived somewhere else with what I make, it would be really, really, really easy.
Yeah.
But it's just, even in my company, you know, we don't have the disconnect. It's that's that drastic, because everybody looks at healthcare very, very, very intently, or intensely. So it's just,
I guess
the only much of a difference is insane.
Right, and I guess the only problem I have with, obviously, making that much money is, honestly, it's like, what are you doing with your money to reinvest into your company, or what exactly you're doing? I mean, that's just his take home. I mean, I understand, obviously, you know, he probably reinvested in the company, but from all the stories that we hear from video game developers about just mistreatment or cancellations or moving here or moving there, or, I mean, even the story that we joke about sometimes where it's like, they finish a game and then everybody's laid off at a pizza and bowling party. It's like, I don't feel like video game developers, it's like, why would you ever want to be in the video game industry when you're treated like crap? You know, it's like, I know you have a dream and you have a vision and stuff like that, but it's like, I think that's why we see so many damn indie games sometimes, is because indie games, obviously, they get developed and then, you know, it's on their terms. You know, and I think that's kind of where the industry is heading, honestly. And I think that's why all these companies are supporting indie games, is because they know, well, you come work for us, you know, it's going to be a nightmare. So I think, honestly, the point to unionize, I think they have the right to. Like, honestly, it's like unions protect people. I'm a part of a union myself, and it's really sad, because I work for the federal government, and you're like, what? The federal government doesn't protect its people? No, they're horrible. They want to cut budgets all the time. They want to fire people all the time. They want us to be able to, you know, do a job with no resources whatsoever, and then they hate us when we ask for resources. That's your government, you know. I can only imagine what gaming companies are going through. And I know, obviously, unions protect. Yeah. Well, I mean, unions are the reason there's no child labor anymore, for God's sakes.
Right.
You know? So it's like, it's just unreal sometimes of how, even in today's age, where you think everybody's, you know, peace, love, and understanding, it's like there's still a bunch of, you know, CEOs out there that are just total a-holes. I mean, for God's sakes, we have one running the country right now. But it's like, people need to wake up. Like, honestly, that's all I gotta say. Like, if there's a lot more of us than there are of them, and they need to realize that, and they know that too, and that's why they keep you in the position that you're in too. That's why they know if they give you just enough to be happy, that you're not going to rise up. And it's sad, but it's true. So, but I support anybody who wants to unionize on that, because that's a bunch of bullcrap. 300 times more. So I hope you're happy. I hope you choke. I hope you choke on your lobster and you crash your freaking Ferrari and you die in a fiery ball of death. That's what I think about you.
Or just reach out to me directly. You know, on our website at the Dads That Game. Just shoot me an email. I'll give you my address and my bank account information.
You can send me.
Just go ahead and you can fund me.
Yeah.
Send me some.
We have a Patreon. Yeah, we have a Patreon
page.
That
you don't even know.
Yeah, we have a Patreon page, Bobby Kotick.
Why
don't you freaking support us?
That you're making, because it's so much. You know, you can reinvest in some you know some grassroots tactics. You know,
exactly.
help the little man get big. You know,
if we have $1 million in our bank account tomorrow, I'll be like, wow, Bobby Kotick, man, he's amazing. Not gonna happen. But we got to get out of here. Check us out, obviously, Thursday nights, Podcast Radio Network. Tune in and Crikey apps. Use those accordingly. Thank you to Player One Coffee. Thank you to Video Games Monthly. And check out our new website, noobsandpros.com. It's not our website, but we will be under there from now on. We love you. We got to get out of here. So we will we'll see you next week for 101. Wow, we did it. Show 100 and the can. But thank you for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Dads That Game radio podcast. Email us your questions and hate mail to dadsthatgamepodcast@gmail.com.